Fans for the Southern States Wrestling International title, the legendary masked man, the masked superstar, goes up against the champion Conan Chris Walker. Joe Wheeler, Mark Curtis, yours truly, Chip Kessler, to bring it to you. And Joe, you have a great match in the making here. A young legend against an older veteran in the masked superstar.
Absolutely right, Chip. This should be a great encounter for the international title, as Conan Chris Walker and the masked superstar locked up collar and elbow. And Superstar brings this man over right there very quickly, and the experienced masked superstar going to work on the younger Conan Chris Walker. But Chris Walker was able to reverse that situation into a hammerlock, as he's got the superstar down on the mat, at least for the moment, Mark.
I tell you what, you talk about this being an international match. It truly is, because these men are not strangers to each other. They have wrestled each other, I believe, in Singapore. They have wrestled each other in India. So this is not their first encounter. They're battling tonight here in Kingsport, Tennessee, for the international title, brought to you by Southern States Wrestling.
Shoulder block and tackle. The power of the masked superstar evident right there, as Conan Chris Walker, who is a well-put-together professional wrestler in his own right, has a physique that most men would love to have, but he went flying when he crashed in the masked superstar right then and there. As they tie up again, working now the arm twisting is Conan Chris Walker, follows that up with an elbow. The masked superstar, I'm sure, Joe, is going to wait and pick and choose his spots here, and when you give that type of guy an opening, he's going to take full advantage of it.
That's for sure, Chip, as Superstar right there showed it, as he caught him in that takeover. But Conan Chris Walker showing his tenacity as he holds onto that arm, and now I thought he was possibly going to drive an elbow or drive a knee into the elbow area of the masked superstar. But Conan Chris Walker, the defending champion here in this event here in Southern States Wrestling, and he allowed a clean break there. Referee James McCone called for a break as Superstar had made his way to the ropes, and Conan Chris Walker showing his fairness in the matchup by allowing a clean breakup, as both men are circling once again. They've locked up collar and elbow. Superstar with a headlock takeover there, and Walker pulls this man into a leg scissors, as Conan Chris Walker was able to quickly counter that hold there by the masked superstar, Mark.
What we've got to watch for in this match, of course, with the champion, notes the flying crossbody off the top rope, along with his flying arsenal of drop kicks and headbutts and everything else. With the masked superstar, you got a whole different situation. You've got to watch for the lariat off the ropes, and you've got to watch for what some people call the cobra, but the masked superstar has called it the Shinanomaki. That is that deadly sleeper hold. So those are the things that you got to keep an eye on and look out for the 1, 2, 3 or the submission here tonight.
Conan Chris Walker won the Southern States Wrestling International Championship belt several months ago as part of an international tournament here in SSW, and this by far has got to be considered his toughest title defense. The masked superstar cinching in on that chin lock. Again, he'll put all his power. Look as he cinches it up and works his body behind Conan Chris Walker for the extra leverage and power, trying to sap some of the strength of Conan Chris Walker, who reaches behind the referee James McCone there, quick to break it up.
Superstar using that weight and leverage as he's wrenching down on that hold, and complaining there of his mask being pulled, but he got a handful of hair right there and was able to take down Conan Chris Walker. Snap mirrors this man over, and into a reverse chinlock of his, once again, is the masked superstar, as he's trying to ground this young superstar in Conan Chris Walker. Of course, Walker, the current international title champion, and as he is being grounded at this point by the masked superstar as he continues with that reverse chinlock, Mark, and I think this is showing the masked superstar's experience as he's grounding this young lion in the world of wrestling.
That's very true, but if you remember correctly, Chip, that at the end of that tournament there was some controversy with Conan Chris Walker winning the belt, and that controversy has not been cleared up yet. The tapes are still being watched. Decisions are still being made. There was a lot of controversy with Hans Keller, Heinrich Keller, in that last match. So he is also #1 contender for that belt or for the title international.
Yep, the list is long for competitors, as you would expect, and guys like the Masked Superstar, as we pointed out several times tonight, in the case of a Masked Superstar, the wild-eyed Southern boy Tracy Smothers, these are legendary superstars who literally can have their choice of where they want to go and wrestle professionally, but they're coming into Southern States Wrestling to take on the likes of the title holders, Handsome Bo James, and now in this case, Conan Chris Walker, who has gained the advantage, wrapping up that left leg. As you look, though, there's the Superstar going from behind, even though Conan had the advantage, locking up that leg. It's then the Masked Superstar from behind who gets that legal chin lock in and is able to apply the pressure, at least momentarily, before Conan Chris Walker there, Joe, was able to break that hold.
Absolutely right, Chip. And Superstar once again rearing back with Walker as he's made his way to the ropes. Referee James McCone has called for a break as Conan Chris Walker now has got him, and I'm not sure he's going to bring him out the hard way here, but Walker's looking to the fans for support as he's got Superstar tied up in the ropes. And Conan Chris Walker, I tell you, he's got his hands full with this veteran as the international title hangs in the balance, and he brought Superstar out the hard way, and his leg is still hurting from the earlier effects of that hold by Conan Chris Walker. As Superstar's calling for a timeout, I think he's going to try to regain his feet here, Mark.
Something that Chip brought up earlier whenever he said that he went for a legal chin lock in this. One of the great things about the Masked Superstar, and that's one of the things throughout the years, nobody can doubt that he is a great wrestler. He has always done things more along the scientific way, much like Harley Race, but he was also a roughhouser. You knew that you were in a wrestling match with the Masked Superstar. He wrestled you. He didn't punch, he didn't brawl, he didn't break chairs over the back. He got out there and he made his reputation by out-wrestling you. And that's something that Chris Walker has got to watch. It's something that these fans are sitting on their hands here, just waiting to see what's going to happen. They're respecting what's going on in the ring. A great wrestling match.
Well, Marcus, you just pointed out with the veteran Masked Superstar, a couple of moments before Superstar works Walker as he now throws him outside the ring, but before he worked him into the corner and legally broke the hold, Walker then worked the Superstar into the corner, and as Conan stepped back for a clean break, the Masked Superstar brought that big knee right into the midsection when Walker was least expecting it. He was going to break clean with Conan, but the Superstar got in the shot, and now the Masked Superstar is on the offensive as Walker is outside the ring. And even though the Superstar will try to wrestle you cleanly, when he gets the opportunity, yeah, he's going to take that shot when he can, as he did before, Joe, and he does now, using that cable, wrapping it right around the throat of Conan Chris Walker.
Well, as Mark pointed out a minute ago, the Masked Superstar, no doubt, a great scientific wrestler when he chooses to be, and he was using that cable to his advantage, and the Superstar showing he can get out and brawl as well. There's no doubt about that, but as Mark pointed out earlier, truly a great classic wrestler. He'll take you down and bend you and twist you and put you in ways that you never were meant to be. And Conan Chris Walker, although he's probably got the youth and maybe even the strength advantage on his size, the experience of the Masked Superstar is certainly coming into play here as he delivers a hard forearm right across the chest of Chris Walker, sending him tumbling once again to the concrete floor here in Kingsport, Tennessee with Southern States Wrestling. And I tell you what, Masked Superstar has got Walker at a great disadvantage at this point, Chip.
Yeah, he does, Joe, as he again started that off the potential clean break from Conan Chris Walker, and then it's been all Masked Superstar. The Walker fighting back with a series of rights. Now a big chop across the throat, sending the Masked Superstar for the ride, but the Masked Man was ready with that big right boot stuck on clothesline. Down goes Conan Chris Walker, the lariat delivered. Here's the cover, and a count of about 1 to 1.5 to 2 before the count was broke. But now, Mark, as you see, Conan Chris Walker once again, and though the back of the Masked Superstar is to our camera vantage point, it appears from James McCone's actions that this is a legal hold, at least at the moment, by the Masked Man.
It sure is, and that's one of the things I told you have to watch out for is that lariat and the Shinnomaki. And the thing is the masked superstar must feel that Conan Chris Walker is not ready to be put to sleep yet. And these fans are finally waking up. And this match can only get better than what it already is.
Right now, Conan Chris Walker, hard way into the turnbuckle in the ropes, goes for the ride. Once again, down goes Conan Chris Walker, the masked superstar. There he goes with that sleeper hold. He's applied the hold that Mark Curtis was pointing out to us earlier in this match. Let's see if Conan Chris Walker, their Mark, can break this thing.
This is usually doom. This is usually it. This is the end. I can't believe that Chris Walker's going to be able to get out of this.
Right now, Walker again, Joe, flat on his back, and James McCone also is going to have to be watching for maybe a 3 count, as Walker's literally about out on his feet here.
Well, it's true, Chip, and I tell you what, Superstar's got it locked in on Chris Walker at this point. Referee James McCone right on top of it as Walker is slowly fading here. And I tell you what, we may have a new international champion here in mere moments as referee James McCone's checked. That's twice now the arms fell. If it falls a 3rd time, this match is over. But no, Conan Chris Walker showing right there. He's still got some fighting fire left in him. Maybe if he can make it over to the ropes, Mark, I'm just amazed that he's been able to hold on this long, Mark.
Especially look how purple his face is, but he's punching his way out of it. I mean, you could tell the amount of oxygen that's been cut off to the head because his face keeps getting darker and darker and darker.
And again, the masked superstar applies it and is able to get Walker back on the mat, flat on his back, as it will, as James McCone now checks, holding up the arm for the 1, goes for the 2, got that. Let's see if this is it now. Nope, Conan Chris Walker somehow, Joe, I don't know where Conan is getting his 2nd and maybe 3rd and 4th wind of his to keep fighting. For years, as Mark Curtis told us before, no one breaks this hold.
Well, this is true, Chip, and I tell you what, Conan has made his way back up to a vertical base and into the ropes, and Superstar's holding on to him like a pit bull. But the referee necessitated a break, and the Superstar obliged because they were tied up in the ropes. Superstar takes Conan, shoots him in the ropes. Conan ducked that clothesline and caught Superstar right there with a chop and a 2nd one as Conan Chris Walker now fired up and caught the Superstar with a hard right hand to the top of the head as Conan Chris Walker has been able to turn the momentum of this match around as he's going to the top rope. Apparently, he's climbing the ladder, and you know he's got to be still suffering the effects of the Cobra Clutch to Shinomaki. We've got some interference here.
Wayne Rogers comes out of nowhere and tosses Walker off. The ref's back was turned. No, it wasn't. James McCone saw what was going on, and he calls for the bell, where Wayne Rogers comes in, one of the legends here tonight, sticking his face where it doesn't belong. And it looked like maybe, Mark, if things are all said and done, the masked superstar might not have needed this help here this evening.
I don't understand this. Wayne Rogers, what's he doing in the ring? I mean, who's going to come out next? Hawkeye Pierce? Come on, tell me, Chip.
I don't know, but again, Wayne Rogers teaming up with the masked superstar, 2-on-1 situation. Conan Chris Walker, worse for wear, will go for the ride off the rope. Both men waiting, drop him down. It's 2 against 1. Wait,
here comes the Boogeyman.
Boogeyman Valiant. The Boogeyman is here. Let's see if he and the superstar can tangle. No, they're both going to head for higher ground, Joe.
Well, there you see it. Referee James McCone with the official decision. Conan Chris Walker